Our topic today is, why is my miracle taking so long? And in this time right now, when I know so many people all around the world are praying that we get healthy again and that we return to normal, and I know many of you have certain things that you are praying for and working to have revealed as a miracle. And so the age-old question is, where is it already? I'm ready. And so there's a couple things that we want to pay attention to when we are in the process of manifesting a miracle. We want to realize that a miracle is just like as normal as planting a seed, and that there is a time when the seed is below the surface and it looks as if nothing is happening. We want to, instead of thinking of, I'm waiting for my miracle to happen, when's it going to happen? We want to start saying that we are in an incubation period, that it is a time when the work that we are doing is working and it is growing, but it's just not visible to us yet. And so the first thing to realize about the incubation period with a plant, also with us, is we have to keep it nourished and watered. And the way that we do it is we keep knowing that all will work out. Our miracle is on its way. If we have an affirmation as I am now living in my wonderful new home, fully paid for, we keep reaffirming our affirmation over and over again. And we just keep that miracle-making attitude that I spoke about a couple of weeks ago. That attitude, might have been last Sunday, that attitude that is welcoming this new good to come into our mind. Our biggest fear as human beings is that God is not there for us, that we're not loved, that God doesn't care about us, that there is no God. So our biggest fear is that our miracle won't happen, because the divine creates miracles for us, I think, for the sole reason to let us know that there is a God and that that God does care for us. And so we need to stay welcoming. We need to stay trusting and just do the best job that we can with that. And just allow things to unfold. In other words, if your miracle, if your good is taking a while coming, don't you give up. Don't you say, oh, it was never meant to be, or I guess God's answer was no. The divine's answer is always yes. And so going back to our two criteria in going for a particular miracle is it life affirming? And does it not hurt or harm anyone else? And so if you've got those two criteria met, then there is nothing in heaven or in earth that would say no. So let's get back to why it might be looking like it's taking some time. The first big reason why it may be taking some time is you yourself are not 100% on board with it. You may think that you're 100% on board with it, but you may actually have some mixed feelings. And so one of the things that you want to ask yourself is there a downside to my miracle? I am using our great book, Shortcut to a Miracle, written by Michael Rann and Elizabeth Rann Arrott, and they say that question, is there a downside to our miracle, is necessary because each of us has a whole complexity of desires and needs. Conflicting desires are not uncommon, and what they often indicate is that something in ourselves is not in harmony with what we want. These inharmonious ideas and feelings will always reveal themselves if we are open to them. And so we have to ask ourselves, what is something about my miracle that troubles or worries me? So for example, if you are wanting to demonstrate a new and wonderful job, maybe there's a worry in you that, oh, well, I'll have to have a longer commute, or I'll have to suffer in some way, or maybe I won't be able to work at home anymore, or I'll have to prove myself all over again. I'll have to go through that whole process of getting used to the new place. Well, all of those thoughts that cross our mind actually are giving this creative law mixed messages, because we want to remember that the creative law listens to everything that we are saying. So it listens to our desire that I now want this wonderful job, and it's also listening to all our worries about it. But I don't know, maybe I'll have to work harder than I'm used to. Maybe I actually won't really be good enough at it and stuff. So those mixed feelings in us and those thoughts in us are all evidence that we need to get clearer about this desire that we want fulfilled, and that we need to get more on board. We're not ready. We're not fully ready. So even though with our conscious mind we're saying, yeah, I'm ready, I really want it, I really want it, those bits of unreadiness in our fears and in our worries and in our doubts have to get cleared up, because change is scary to we human beings. And we do need to get on board with all of ourselves, emotionally, physically, psychically, environmentally, spiritually, mentally. We need to get on board in our readiness. And so the time that it takes for our demonstration of our miracle to occur includes the time that it requires us to get prepared for it. So we need to get clear. And Edwin Gaines likes to say in manifesting prosperity to set goals, and she says to daily ask yourself, she says, Father, Mother, God, you could use whatever name you like for your infinite higher power, whatever that is. I like divine love. Divine love, what in me needs to be changed for this miracle to happen? What do I have to change about myself? Or, divine love, what is mine to do in manifesting this miracle? Maybe I have to make a phone call. Maybe I have to update my resume. Maybe I have to learn more technology. Maybe you don't want to do what it is that you're being guided to do. But the way to your miracle is requiring that you do learn it. My teacher, Dr. Stuart Grayson, he said the most wonderful thing. He said that when you are treating for a peach, you do not want to pluck that peach until it's ripe. Because if you pluck it too soon, it's hard and it doesn't taste as good. And if you wait too long, it falls to the ground and it starts rotting and it's all mushy and it's not a pleasant experience either way. But you want to pluck that peach when it's absolutely perfect. And when you are in the most perfect peach eating mood, when you are ready. So years ago, I went to that teacher, Dr. Stuart Grayson, for my first spiritual mind treatment. And I knew very little about the science of mind or making miracles happen. And I remember telling my friends, because I was a banker at the time in Manhattan at 1 Wall Street, trivia there, and I wanted to be an actress. And so I made this appointment with Dr. Stuart Grayson, and the day before I was telling my friends, it's so exciting. Here I am, a banker, and I'm going to go and have this appointment with Dr. Stuart Grayson, and he's going to do this thing, like make a miracle happen. And then the next day I will wake up and I'll be an actress. I was so excited. So I went to him with that and I said, okay, make me an actress. Go ahead, do it. And he's like, well, how are you going to support yourself? What's your plan? And you need to think this through. And I'm thinking, man, don't you believe what you teach yourself? What is wrong with this guy? So, I just listened to him yammer away during our appointment. And then finally he did the prayer, this miraculous prayer that I am now a successful, wonderful actress. And I woke up the next morning and I was still a banker. What? Well, all right. I got myself into an acting school and discovered, thankfully 2 years later, I discovered that I was a pretty bad actress. And so if he had made me an actress overnight, if the creative law had made me an actress overnight, I would have been a rotten actress and I would have been miserable. I would have gotten rotten reviews. I wouldn't have gotten any work. I don't know what would have happened, but it would have been a rotten experience. And so, but his prayer worked because I got myself into a great acting class. And 2 years after I was in it, someone came into the class who had seen me on the very first day, and he was just remarking at how miraculous this teacher is in turning me, this horrific, horrible actress, into somebody who was pretty good. To the teacher went all the credit. And to my teacher, Stuart Grayson, goes all the credit because I wasn't ready. And as the years unfold, I became a pretty mediocre actress. It demonstrated, but I became good and I really enjoyed my life. And I was an actress for as long as that worked for me until I changed my mind. It became something else, which, hello, here I am right now. So that's very interesting. So we may believe we're ready, but when we plant that seed, we realize that we still may need to change and get ready for that good, get prepared for that good so that we can really enjoy it full out. And I will share with you, I fully enjoyed my life as an actress. It was a blast. From the beginning, I had a wonderful time until I outgrew that idea. So you might have mixed feelings. You might not be ready even though you think you're ready. In other words, the biggest worry that we might have is that we don't know what we don't know. But that creative law does know all about us, and it knows what we do need to know in order to have a successful manifestation. There's another scenario that might happen that might look like a delayed miracle, which is things need to get rearranged. And again, going back to our quantum physicists, there is something called chaos theory, which is that in order for things to be rearranged into a more perfect order, the order upon which things had been arranged needs to get disassembled. I'm sure some of you have done some version of home improvements. And so, you know how it just, when you finally decide to redo your kitchen, that everything's got to get ripped out. And so things are in chaos for a while and you don't have anything to eat and, it's all over the place. And it may feel like everything has gotten worse by appearances, but if you hang in there and you keep working with it, you eventually have that beautiful kitchen rearranged according to a better order. Years ago, I had a TV set that I bought probably in 1975, and cable had come in, and so it was probably in the late 80s. I still had the same TV set. Perhaps there are some of you who know what I'm talking about, but I remember sitting in my apartment in Manhattan, and that television set began to roll. Now, any television set that has been made in the 80s and beyond don't have that construction that causes the picture to roll. And so it started rolling, and I was in this teaching, and so I did an affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, that my TV is clear, I see it perfectly, healed it. It stopped rolling. It was fabulous for about a year. And then it rolled again. And I did another spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer, and it stopped for about 3 months. And then it started rolling again. And then I would do a treatment, and then it would roll again, and back and forth. And then there was a time when I was sitting on my couch and treating and praying and praying. My TV is perfect. My TV is perfect. I have a perfectly functioning TV, blah, 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 blah. And then finally it dawned on me, it wasn't working. It was just rolling and rolling and rolling. And I finally I needed to get a new TV. Why did I not want to get a new TV? I had this belief things should last forever. And they can. When I got the new TV and the cable person came to reinstall my cable, apparently there had been so many improvements technologically to what a television can do that I did not know what I was missing. And so here I was, praying and praying for the old good to remain functioning when my greater good required that I open up and accept all the new and wonderful technology that was there for me and that the whole rest of the world was enjoying. And so sometimes that looks like everything is falling apart, but it's the same thing. We place that spiritual idea into the law and we stick with it, but we keep asking that inner guidance. What is mine to do? What do I need to do? Show me the way. Help me. Make it clear to me. And we will get guided on track. And then there's a final way that your miracle might take some time. And that might be you're ready. Your whole consciousness is ready. Everything's ready. Where is it? It may be that the world is not yet ready. Something in the world is not yet ready for your good. And because it's on the way, and you are this consciousness, your greater good is the same as the greatest good of all. Again, the more desperate that we want our miracle, the more anxious we are about it. But when we are really ready, we are very calm. We know that it will happen. My cooking trip to Italy was postponed because of this thing that I shall not name. And if I were thinking that would be the only opportunity ever in my whole life to go to Italy and cook pasta and drink wine and whatever, I would be very disappointed. But I know that I will have this trip, that it will happen sometime in the future. And so I am calm and I am perfectly okay with the law making the world ready so that I can fully enjoy my trip. And so one of the other little areas that we need to remember when we are going for something wonderful is we are calling on that higher power, that divine love, which is also an infinite intelligence. And it knows all that's going to happen. I was a consultant working for this firm, and they told me on Friday, we're going to fire our regular lawyer and we're going to hire you. Yeah, basically because you're cheaper. I wasn't a lawyer. I was a paralegal at the time, but they were going to hire me and fire him. And so it was a Friday and I thought, this is fabulous. And I needed a new car. And so I went out over the weekend and bought the new car and used all my savings to buy that car, fully paid for. because I knew my income was assured. And on Monday, I went back into work and they called me in and they said, we changed our mind. Finish your project as a consultant and leave. And we're going to keep our lawyer. I'm like, what the heck? So I went into, my special prayer room at work, which is the ladies' room. And I had a little fit. And then I said, God does not set me up. That this all happened and unfolded in the way that it did, scheduled the way that it did, because the divine knows something that I don't know. And I needed a new car immediately, and it was best for me to pay for it full out. And so the money was there. It's fine. And your next new job is on the way. I left that ladies' room, and as I walked back to my desk, I overheard my boss in his office on speakerphone talking to a headhunter. And I leaned in. I don't know why I did this. I leaned in and I said, oh, that's for me. Can you transfer that call to me when you're done? And he said, yeah, sure, we'll do. And he did. And the headhunter talked to me about this job that they were searching for someone to fill. And I got that job. It took 3 months of interviews and stuff going on. And in those 3 months, I completed the project at the company that I was hired to do. And on Friday night at 5:30, I finished the project. And at Monday morning, the next Monday, 8:30 a.m., I was in the new job. Only infinite intelligence knows our greater good. And so let me give you some tips how to handle it while you think your miracle is taking too long. Number 1, start looking for the tendency, some little evidences that things are changing. Changes in you, changes in what's happening around you. Take anything as a hint that your good is on its way. If you're treating for prosperity or money, and if you see a penny on the ground, in the mud, you say, that is evidence that my good is on its way. If you are treating for a wonderful new relationship with a wonderful new person, then and someone in the grocery store of that looks sort of like the way you'd like to go, whatever, and they give you a wink, hello, that's the tendency. It's not the one, it's not the answer. It's a parade that's starting, and the parade is going to grow. If you've watched the Thanksgiving Day parade, which I love, it starts with the band and the sirens and all these wonderful marching bands and floats and entertainments and everything. And the good that we are waiting for is Santa Claus, the end of the parade. And so we just know that our good is on the way, and we take any evidence, even just a slight feeling of, oh, I feel better about this. We take it all as evidence that our good is on the way, and that keeps our spirits up. It also helps us keep asking that divine love within, what is mine to do? What do I need to prepare? What do I need to get ready? If I'm trying to sell my house, well then, get the boxes, clear out the house, get rid of the clutter, plan the new, the good. Get yourself acting as if it's already happened. Put on that persona of the new. One position that I was in, it's actually the position that I had before I became the consultant. I was working in a very low skill level job. I was a secretary, pretty much a assistant of all kinds, whatever. And I had selected that kind of job because I needed to do a lot of, emotional healing, and, I had a lot to work myself through. And after a number of years doing this, I had worked through it, and I was ready for a position that would use my highest talents and abilities. And I began contemplating the divine quality of success. And for 6 months, I kept courting success in my mind. What would a successful person be thinking when they're looking at this dirty coffee pot? How would a successful person answer the phone? How would a successful person type this letter? How would a successful person dress for work? Just asking these questions and then do as I was guided to do prepared me so that when I was ready and the world was ready, boom, it came together and I got this fabulous consultant job, which led me into the next job, which I've already shared that story. So acting as if, asking that question, what else do I need to learn? What else do I need to do? Who else do I need to talk to? To just continue assuming it's going to happen. And how can you change to be fully ready to eat that delicious ripe peach at that perfect time? And you will always get that guidance. Plus, it gives you something to do. And then the one thing that you need to avoid is taking no for an answer. I don't care how long it takes. I have had miracles happen overnight. I have had miracles occur after 6 months of work, after 3 months of work, after 2 years of work as an actress. And that miracle-making attitude that is required by us is to don't say no to yourself. The divine is not going to say no, right? If you meet your 2 criteria. And so if the divine is not going to say no, why should you say no to yourself? Well, maybe you might think it's too hard. I don't want to. And one reason for saying no to your own good that I've heard from people is, I don't want to be disappointed. Of course you don't want to be disappointed, because that goes back to our biggest fear, which is the disappointment is God doesn't love me. I'm not special. That it wasn't meant to be, that I can't have my good, that I'm meant to be unhappy, that I'm meant to be unhealthy, that I'm meant to be miserable, that I'm meant to be poor. The divine means us to enjoy our lives completely. And so don't give yourself a no, and don't give yourself a no so you don't feel disappointed. No, you're not going to be disappointed. Hang in there and start saying to yourself, okay, I may not have that new good yet, not yet, but it's on its way. The seed has been planted, and a little way out to help you is to add the words, it's equivalent or better. So I now am having a wonderful position with XYZ company. It's equivalent or better. I am now a wonderful actress. It's equivalent or better. That opens things up so that that desire that we have in the heart gets fulfilled one way, in one form that we thought was our greatest good, or in another way, which is even better than what we came up with before. It's that realization that the infinite intelligence of the divine does know more about what is in the world, what is possible, and it even knows more about your own self and what is your highest and greatest good. And so this infinite intelligence knows your greatest good and is arranging everything in your favor. So going back to that job where I was a consultant and they told me that they were going to fire the lawyer and hire me, the paralegal, instead, and then they changed their mind and they didn't. Well, I left. I finished the project. I left. And 3 months later, they went out of business. Dissolved. Gone. So, and there I was in another company, well entrenched, loving it, fully used to the new ways of commuting and the new ways, and already had proven myself. I was fully settled in, fully comfortable in my next new, wonderful, successful job. So there's a lot in this making miracle stuff. And it always goes back to realizing that there is a divine creator that loves us and wants us to enjoy our lives. And it gives us guidance on an as you need to know it basis. In other words, right? Your inner guidance never tells you all the whys and wherefores. The inner guidance never says, okay, we're going to take this job that you really think you want away from you because they're going bankrupt in 3 months. And we've got a better position for you. It doesn't give you all that information. It just, here, now. What is mine to do and what is mine to know? Because that infinite creator just realized all that it went through to create human beings. From the beginning of the universe, the Big Bang, 15, 20 billion years, that was a whole lot of effort to create we human beings here and now. And here we are, created by the divine to express even more of the goodness of that which is the all good as part of humanity. So our good is on the way. Never give up. Keep working at it. Keep listening to your guidance. Keep getting clearer. Keep learning and changing all that you need to change about yourself. And add its equivalent or better, because that its equivalent or better will be as good as what we had come up with as the perfect form, or even better. And so let me do an affirmative prayer right now for each one of you. I call it a spiritual mind treatment, but just imagine that greater good that you desire, that you've been working on, that seed that you have planted. And this word is being spoken for each one. Oh yeah, infinite mind knows everything. And it knows the desires within each one heart because that loving presence put those desires there. And it put those desires there so that each one accepts that desire and becomes a vehicle for this divine good to be fulfilled in the world. Each one is accepting that inner desire, that yearning that is placed there of the Father, Mother, God. And each one is accepting it and accepting all the good that goes with it, all the changes that go with it, and is knowing that this demonstration of this greater good is requiring tremendous change in their own part, that each one is becoming more loving, more harmonious, happier, wealthier, healthier, and that, yes, habits need to be changed. The old ways and patterns of living all need to be revolutionized, but that each one is trusting the process, the creative process in taking that germ of an idea, a divine idea, a blessing, beneficent germ, and it is planted as this seed that the entire creative process of the universe is now moving everything in earth, in heaven, to rearrange everything so that the beautiful growth of this idea is manifesting in, through, as an all-around one right now. It is all happening right now. The divine is using its natural, normal, creative process to bring to each one a complete fulfillment of that which has been desired within. And it happens in the right time, at the right place, so that each one knows that this life is good and that this manifestation of the desire is at the perfect time, when each one may enjoy it completely, easily, effortlessly. And all of this happens normally and naturally. Each one is calm and secure and trusting in the creative process. And in so doing, each one knows that their good is on its way and that each one is participating in that good by doing whatever he or she is guided to do, to unfold and evolve themselves into being a complete and total consciousness, which is the consciousness that is the complete fulfillment of this good. And by this growth, by this activity, the divine has created through each one someone who has more to give humanity, this world, than ever before. The demonstration is complete. The law can be trusted, and each one is confident, secure, and able to observe the parade of good move in their life in greater and more wonderful ways, knowing that it is in the law and that the fulfillment is a done deal. I am grateful it is a done deal. So I release this word to the creative, loving law. I know it is done, and so it is. And that is the way it is. So, have another great week, and happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. And I look forward to seeing you next week, where I will be on top of the even newer technology more than I was this morning. So thanks for watching, and I'll be knowing the best for you.